going to call this recess meeting of the Wise County Board of Supervisors to order. Today's February the 3rd, 2026. Ms. Wells, can you do a roll call, please?
Mr. Bates?
Here.
Mr. Atkins?
Yeah.
Board one?
Here.
Mr. Peters?
Here.
Mr. Schoolcraft?
Here.
Chairman Reed?
Here.
And Fred Lunsford is going to appear later. He is in physical therapy, so he's going to call in when he's available, and we would add him. We do need to add to the agenda to allow him to participate remotely.
Here.
Mr. Carter.
If everybody stand, I'd like to ask Rusty to lead us in prayer, and John will lead us in the pledge.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, Father, as we need to help us to do what's best for the citizens of Wise County, Father, and bring honor and glory to you. Thank you, you're the great sovereign, that without you, nothing exists, Father. Forgive us our sins. Watch us through the day. We love you. In Jesus' name we pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As Karen said, we need to amend the agenda to add approval for Fred to participate remotely by phone. And the other thing, I would like to have the privilege of moving up closed session if we need to. We might begin the discussion, but then almost immediately go in closed session. So with that, with those changes, I ask for somebody to make a motion for the amended agenda.
Motion to amend the agenda.
Second. And Schoolcraft made the motion, Carter made the second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have an approved amended agenda. Next, let's approve Mr. Lunsford to participate remotely later in the meeting. I need a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Schoolcraft and Mr. Bates made the second. Any discussion about Fred calling in? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that is approved. I guess first is discussion of setting the tax rate in the county budget. I think there's some questions. Let's just go ahead and go in closed session. And I'll read the sections there. Section 2.23711, A6, investing in public funds, A7, consultation with legal counsel, and A1, personnel. Need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Boardline made the motion. Mr. Carter made the second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We're in closed session.
Or all we do is drink
I
water.
think you're trying to starve us into submission here.
Give us some crackers.
All right, need a motion to return to open session.
Mr. Chair, if it pleases the board, I make a motion that we return to open session for closed session.
And Bob Atkins made the second. I saw him raise his hand. Any discussion? All in favor of returning to open session indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now in open session. We need a certified closed session. Need a motion.
Mr. Chairman, certification of closed meeting, this date, February the 3rd, 2026. Whereas the Wise County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Wise County Board of Supervisors that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, and now therefore it be resolved that the Wise County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the board of closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Wise County Board of Supervisors.
I'll second that motion. Need a roll call?
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Bates?
Yes.
Mr. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Schoolcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
And Chairman Rivers?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. All right, we are back in regular session.
Now we need to resume our discussion on setting the tax rate for fiscal year 26, 27, and with that, the county budget. Floor is open for any discussion.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think we sent each of you just the updated revenue projections as discussed last week. That has the tax rates, I think, and Andre can speak to it. I think it started at 65 to 69. Also with pennies going up on personal property taxes in the same ratio. And with our current budget as a starting point, we've looked at that, plus some increases that we know we're already going to have for the next budget, still showing a potentially a $4 million shortfall, but it does show you what those numbers are at each tax rate and each personal property tax rate. And I think that's the handout, and Andre can talk specifics if you have a request or discussion at where we're at each rate.
And I have some questions on this. One of the things I noticed, and that was different from the information we got a week ago to what we got for this meeting. You put in an uncollectible rate for the first year, and it was 1.55 million. What was that unrecovered rate? Is that real estate? Is that personal property? Is that cold severance? What categories does that include, and where is most of that money uncollectible from?
So page 3 of that handout, that's the rates with the railroad. And I did, the handout starts at 63 cents. So this model was basically starting at an 8-cent increase from the equalized 55, then going up 1 cent on personal property respective to the list of. So basically these are historical rates that the treasurer has in collections, and per category, the real estate's 96%. So we just applied what we projected as revenue collected to those collectible rates, and that's where the uncollected amounts would come from.
I guess my question, is it just these 5 or 6 that we see above that, or did it, because one of the reports that the treasurer gave us showed that we had over projected cold severance. She showed several different categories that we had over projected a levy amount, a revenue amount. Is this strictly just for this category right here?
So this would be for real estate, public service, for personal property, machinery, tools, purchase capital, and mobile homes. And you can, I'll get Doug to reaffirm, but I think what she referred to is there was inflated projections based on public service corporation and real estate. Correct? Is that how we got that?
I don't know. I can't speak to it.
Was that-
That's what I understood, is that yellow highlighted number was Dolores, the treasurer, looking at the tax rates and her collectability of each of those and using historical data to apply. So that's why it changes a little bit as you go across. But it's only above the yellow.
Yeah.
All of the, you can see all of the other revenues below. Those are things we don't quite know yet. We're looking at the categories above the yellow or the red as your numbers to look at. And then we've applied at the very bottom in the red boxes and stuff where we would be at that tax rate. So it goes across and then down on your third page.
Then my next question is right below that is PPTRA, state funds, PP taxes. The week prior to that, when you gave us the table, there was an amount of like almost 1.4 million positive amounts requested there. Now you've taken that out. There's no dollars in there for that line item. Just wonder why.
Okay, that's a question. I think what it was, and without Dolores here, Andre will have to jump in, is I think that had not been actually calculated with PPTRA.
Why
That
we
would take
talking
away,
about PPTRA?
It's personal property tax relief, and it's, the reimbursement plus the percentage of, decrease or relief that's offered each year by the locality. I think last year was 45%, dating back to, I think, 2005, when the General Assembly enacted personal property tax relief on vehicles.
Okay.
And then the locality, I think, don't hold me to this number, but I believe our reimbursement was set at that time at around 1.3 million each year.
This is 1.3.
Yeah.
So
So that's what we get back from the state every year.
would we not get that now?
Yes.
So should there not have been projection in one item? Should there not been an amount across there?
We traditionally don't budget that amount because that's included in the levy. That's my
Yes.
understanding. So
I think that's right.
the
It's not in
personal-
addition to.
Yeah, this is what we're gonna levy, but there is a reduced amount that actually has to be paid, but that's reimbursed to the state. That's my understanding.
That one time we had to do that was across the board, one of those sheets that you gave us a week ago. Because I had that amount, I had $1,380,233.28.
Yeah, I don't think that's,
So
That's
that
not
should have been in there
something
to
we
start.
shouldn't count on that.
yeah, it was already, when Dolores did that presentation, if I recall, and depending on that, it was in there, but it shouldn't have been in there the way it was because it's not additional money to us. It's already calculated in, as Andre said, the levy. So it wouldn't be more money for us, but it's considered. So, and we can double check. Again, that's something that I would
I just
look
noticed
at
that
the
the two
specific
tables did
numbers.
not match from last week to this week, and that's why I was questioning what the difference is. How
Sure.
to justify it.
Well, I'm not sure about, what I used was an expansion of the table that was presented last week that did not have anything for PPTRA. I'd have to go back and look. We have had multiple tables and
Yes.
models and,
It's
but
been part of our problem.
before I submitted this for your all's review on Friday, I convened with the commissioner and the treasurer. We feel like these are the numbers. I would not want to, I think this is the revenue amount, so it's, that does not need to be included unless somebody else has information I'm not aware of. So we need to be, these are the numbers.
I've got a question about the dollars in yellow. Are those dollars included in the revenue projections above that line?
Yes, so basically that line item in yellow that we highlighted, again, references back to page 3. So we just, how this was, how those numbers came about is I would not have an item in that cell. So I would have a total amount of what we would project, but then you need to,
Including the uncollected.
yes, so you need to take that out.
Okay.
Because that's, historically, these are the numbers we collect.
Okay, then I have a question on a couple of line items down through there. You have 1.5% of 3% of gas taxes. And then right below that is oil tax. There's no amounts going across that table. Is there a potential for any revenue in those two line items?
Yes, but they are included in just a combination of severance line item that's right above everything that's in it. Everything that would be related to.
So this is coal severance related?
Yes, coal severance or oil and gas related. We don't traditionally budget for what historically what we get in that category, just one amount.
Well, that's the other thing I looked at. I tried to find these two items in our current budget and I didn't find them. So,
When you get your packet, it'll look, a lot of that is condensed. It's not by category, so there may be just one line item. Again, that's why we budget just one line item. I can get you an expanded per category, whether it's local, state, or federal money, and then how they're grouped together.
and the next question I have is building permits. And I didn't go back, but you projected 37,000. Does that include the new revenue that we're projecting from our recent increase?
Yeah, you'll notice made a little notation up to the side of building permits. We increased that $12,000.
And that's
12,000.
12,000, okay.
And those are, we think these numbers, I'm not as confident in the below the revenue projections for taxes. We're pretty confident in these numbers. I think as a consensus, these are still subject to change. We'll have to delve into those a little bit, but we're basically looking at historical numbers and things that we know we've updated, but there's more work that can be done here.
But this is pretty significant in setting the tax rate, because what's above that is only 30-some million, and we're talking about a budget of 70-some million. So these line items will drastically impact what we do.
For example, in your, I'm just trying to look and see the updated comp board numbers, and on what the state does with the 2%, what they're going to reimburse, that will change these numbers. But on the flip side of that, you've got a corresponding expense that will eat up that change. So these numbers will change, but I mean, they could be spoken for already.
Well, I've got a couple more questions. Charges for the city of North. Have we not talked about increasing typically? Is this the same as we had projected last year? Is there any potential for more money in this amount?
So what this represents is shared services in the courthouse building.
Okay,
Doesn't have anything to do with ticket fees, so this would be salaries related to police service, clerk, court systems, maintenance, things of that nature. And notate that the school resource officers are excluded from that. It's a pretty significant amount that we're getting from the city already.
next one, I might have a question about was sale of county assets. We projected 124,000. Are we going to sell assets this coming year? What assets are we selling?
Now,
Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say that's something that we will need to look at. And I've actually started a list of what our assets are, any real property that we have, to look at whether or not those are revenue producing. To look at that, I think last year we had some surplus properties, but that 124.
Typically, that's vehicles.
I wonder if that's, and would that stay about the same? Do you have any thoughts before that wind up?
Not really.
Not really, okay. It's just about all I have.
One thing to follow up, that below the line does include all the grants that we've gotten, all the grants from the sheriff's office that you can see there. That does address some of their expenses. There's some revenue on that side too. But that's something to look at because those grants may have only been for this past year and not renewable grants or not grants that they will apply for. So again, we're working from the numbers we've got now and using this as our base. We still have the opportunity to meet with each of the departments, to look at each of the line items, to go through. That's where we'll get the cuts. And we'll have to look at the below the line revenues. You can go through a lot of these here that you've got everything from courthouse maintenance fees, clerk court fees. Those vary. We can get you information for the last 3 to 5 years if we want to look at that. But that is something that Andre already looks at when we go through to get these projections. It's kind of the historical data from the year before. And if we need to dig in further, we can go back to look at those. I'm looking to, we've got reimbursements for jurors. We've got rental tax. So those will change, but again, they're not as significant as our real estate. We don't have control over them, I guess is what I'm saying, as much as we do over real estate, personal property, the tax rate. That has to come first, and then we'll look at this as we go through the budget process.
And one of those line items was the Appalachia charges for sheriff for patrol. That's something we can look at as we look at their renewing their contracts. Is that correct?
That's under a contract, and that can be reviewed to actually what those officers' costs are, and then talk with Appalachia accordingly.
Yes.
One question, third line item, second page, the casino. Well, we've never really got a ban. Is that number high? Is it usually eight something?
We got
$9
$943,000 last year. So we think that is a pretty good projection. We were a little low last year, but based on the first quarter deposits.
Actually got the second quarter now, which mirrored, it was right at first quarter, so that should be a pretty solid number. Unless something just drops off in the last 2 quarters. We were in third quarter now, but I think the commission thinks that's pretty solid budgeted number.
And we do have a letter of support going to the legislature that we're asking that it remain the same distribution process as initially was adopted by the General Assembly.
That's a well-written.
Yes.
I would take all the credit, but Becky helped a great deal. We've all been doing double duty, so we got that letter ready to make sure we got it there in a timely fashion.
Anybody else? Andre, I guess I just want to confirm, the numbers that you have given us. I didn't see the proposed rate, but I know we had talked about it, so I just want to make sure the real estate, we're talking about 65 cents. If we go to 65.
So what I had submitted to you guys starts at 63 cents. So that would be, the baseline was an 8 cent increase. And then we just went up 1 cent scenarios, not only to real estate, but also to,
Let me rephrase my question. Current rate on real estate is 55. Current rate on tangible personal property is $1.33.
$1.65 on tangible personal property.
It's $1.65. I had $1.33 something. It's $1.65. So that's what I didn't say. We're gonna vote on rates. We know what they were. So you're saying that's $1.65?
On tangible personal property.
Yes. Then machine and tool, I had $1.41.
That's correct.
Then on machine, merchants, capital tax, I had $2.85.
Well, that's going to change, that formula is going to change. We did a revenue neutral calculation to eliminate the formula that we've had for 25, 30 years. The equal amount that the new tax rate I talked to administration about is $1.13. So to answer your question, that 285 tax rate resulted back during Mr. Wilson's administration when he and the board actually sued one another, literally, and went to the Virginia Supreme Court and there was a ruling, and it created a methodology where there were percentage reductions applied to that 285. The short story is that $1.13 is what we've calculated as the revenue neutral rate for merchants capital.
So if we went up to 56 cents, it would go to $1.14? Or is it so
Yes.
complicated that it's not that simple?
Well, it's just, yes, that's correct. That's the starting rate. And if I may, I'm pretty sure that even though you don't see those personal property rates listed, that they are included. They started at the 8-cent equivalent increase with the 63 cents. So your 63-cent tax rate includes an 8-cent increase to each one of the personal properties. Yes.
And business is what?
Yes, so tangible personal at 63 cents there would include an 8-cent increase, which would be $1.73. And then M&T, an 8-cent increase, which would be $1.49.
Well, I feel like I need, as a board member, I need to know what, because I think when we advertise this, we got to itemize each one of these and what the new rate is.
That's correct.
And I'd like to see that. And along with that, I would like to see what a penny brings us in each one of these categories, so I would know a total amount that whatever we set it at, 63, 65, 69, I'll know what that rate's gonna bring us in, additional money.
And again, I think we have that here. We'll just need to go through, for instance, where you start
But we
at
don't have it.
63. We don't have it separated,
Separated
Separated out.
See what each.
but you can see what each category. So you've got real estate at 63 to 69, and you can see that changes as it goes across. Also at the tangible personal property rate at 63, that starts at 8 cents. So we can do that. It's there, but it shows what each penny, if you'll see the difference between 6.588, 6.626. That's a penny increase in tangible personal property. So we can look at those. So it's here, but you have to dig it out. So we can pull that
Well,
out.
and I did that. I did that based on 63 cents to 64 cents. And I let Excel do the difference for each one of those. The real estate, that was $242,907.56. I let Excel do that for each one of these categories, the difference between 63 and 64 cents. And the penny was gonna bring us in for it. And that was also taking in your uncollectible, negative amount, but it's gonna bring us in $426,400.77. I'm not sure, because I did it another way and that number fluctuated, so I still feel like we've had so many different numbers that I need to know per category what the penny's gonna bring us in. And maybe you can give us that after we set a rate today, if we set it, whatever rate we set that, what's that going to be? What's the difference?
So I have these, so this is how these numbers were derived. We started at a baseline of 63, and these are the baseline rates that Doug just talked about with 8-cent increase for those categories. This is the detail of what encompasses each category here per line. So here are your rates, here's what your revenues are. And of course, real estate's on here too. So I can provide, these are different than what you have here. These are, so this is at 8 cents, 9 cents all the way up to 14 that gets us at 69. Here's the detail that makes this up.
And those numbers have been reconciled before we sent those to, before we sent this out on Friday. We went through and reconciled the breakdown to make sure that we were giving you the most accurate numbers. So all of these other ones that we talked about, if you haven't got these, which I don't think you do, I know John's looking at some, but I think these have been updated with the.
All these are is, again, we start at a baseline of 63, which is an 8-cent increase off the equalized 55. These are the numbers. And then here's the numbers for 9 cents, 10 cents, all the way up to 14 cents. That's what feeds this model. And then we take those numbers to, based on historical collection rates, get our uncollectible amount. We want to be as accurate as we can. And that's what these numbers do. I can give you guys copies of these. You just
I like
detail.
that. That's good, and I'd like to have that, but I'd also like to know per category what that difference is going to be once we set this tax rate. And maybe that can give it to me when I have time to sit down and look at that. In other words, I guess I'm just having.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Go ahead, Doug.
And I think he said this, but this does not include the non-collectible rates.
And that's
The
what
ones in yellow.
that one, that's not that rate off, when he deducted it.
Yeah, so this will not show the 1.5 million, whatever it is across.
So, I mean, we could, I guess, put a line item here, but if you look across this model, I mean, you could take and compare each category as the rate increases. That's what it's going to bring you.
And that's what I did.
Yeah, I mean, total. So, I mean, just eyeballing this, at 63, we're at 30,412,000. At 64, we're at 30,830,000.
That was for all of them.
Correct. At 1 cent. But yeah, I mean, you could add a column in here for what your increase is by category with the 1 cent increase rate. It's just math here.
So generally speaking, as you said, a penny per real estate on tax is 242,000. A penny per tangible personal property is roughly 38,000. The others, I don't have the exact numbers on those.
It's 37,998.
Yes,
So,
you're on it. And then M&T Merchants Capital, they're around $3,000 a
I've
penny.
had 4 on one, 3 on the other.
That's about right. So that's what you can count on. And then personal property, mobile homes gets the same. I don't know exactly what that is, but it gets the same rate as real estate.
I know that proved that.
That's about right. I think the last 3 categories about 3,000 each per penny.
And that's what I'm looking for, is that per penny total. When we set this new rate all the way down all these categories, what is the total in to the county? Board members, anybody else have questions, comments?
Nothing here.
No. And what's our pleasure? Fred, you still with us?
I'm here.
Okay.
You don't have any questions?
Just thinking.
Do I have any questions?
Yep, I was asking everybody if anybody had any questions. I know that we've thrown all these numbers out, and I appreciate Mr. Rivers' discussion about breaking down, but if you look at everything you've got, even if you're at 69 cents with 14 cent across the board for personal property, machinery, tools, you're still $4.7 million short.
How much?
Okay, 4.7 at this time. Now,
you said.
there's a little fluctuation. We may get more grants. We may get more public service corp. If the number, I think all these were based on, is it 90% or 95?
I gave you two scenarios. One was at 90%, one at 95%.
So we can always hope that there's a little more there that makes the cuts less than 4.7 million, that we don't get the increases that we think may be out there coming when we start getting our budget figures in. But that's kind of where we're at the max. So anything less than that, we need to look at more cuts. So like if we're looking at Mr. Rivers' discussion on we're going to take a penny off here on real estate, 240. If we're going to take a penny off on some of the others, consider that an increase on the 4.7. You're going to have to cut that.
Technically, it's 342 with public service.
Okay, a penny would be 342 public service corp. That's what we've got to look at too. So when we come down off that, then we just got to cut on the other end to try to get a balance on the budget. And even if we find some monies to help come in, it's not going to be $4, $5, $6 million. If it's one or two, we talked earlier, we don't want to be in a situation to borrow money to pay. And I know that if our treasurer was here, she'd caution us about that. What we're looking at today is to set a rate to be advertised. That way everybody gets an opportunity to come and express their opinion, talk with you. We get to dig in a little more to see what and where cuts can be made. The only thing we control is the local funding portion of these budgets, whether it's departments or constitutional. So that's where we have our work cut out to do.
Doug, you said 342. Are you adding Public Service Corporation to the 100,000?
Yeah, I'm adding that 100,000 to the real estate rate because it'll affect it $100,000 either way. Yes.
Well, my thoughts were 65.
Karen, if I may.
Yes, sir, Fred, go ahead.
We've got a deficit. We got to make it up somehow. If we start at 69 and we start reducing it, that increases what we got to find. And the more you lower, the more personal it becomes. Because you get into people's jobs more so, the more you lower it. If we start off with a little higher rate, it spreads the deficit over many more people in the county rather than starting to hone down and getting in personal jobs of people that are hired by the county. So, I guess what I'm describing is what's called as the law of large numbers. We have a deficit. My theory is the greater number of people that we can spread that deficit out to, the less hurt it's going to be. So I know that we've got our work cut out for us the next few weeks. I'm going to make a motion that we start with the scenario of 69-cent rate, with the caveat that we have the opportunity to reduce that as we find ways to lower our deficit. And, it is my hope. I don't want to raise taxes. It's my hope that we can find some more cuts somehow and reduce that 69-cent rate. So that would be my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I've got a motion and Mr. Bates made the second to Fred's motion. Are there any other motions?
We vote this one and then we come back, if it doesn't pass, and do something else. You want to substitute now, or?
I think we can do it either way.
I'm leaning more towards 65 too, Sheriff.
Sixty-five. Vote.
I guess, Fred, and this, you're right, we're gonna have to have more discussions as we
69.
finalize a budget. And we do have time to do
We're
that.
serious about it.
But for every penny, and that's why to me today, it was important to know how much a penny with all these increases is going to bring in. And we think personal property may be around 342,000. So I'm just going to say, with some of the other categories, let's make it 350,000. That's probably real conservative
For real estate.
for everything. It'd be a lot more than that, but I'm just saying, easy numbers to figure. If I hear you saying 65 cents, that means we're going up 10 cents from 55 to 65. That's $3.5 million. Now, we're not going to bring in that $3.5 million in the first 6 months, or between now and June, or end of June. We're not going to bring in that full amount, but we should bring in half of that amount in the first 6 months. We had already projected that by doing the twice a year personal property would bring us in 3.1 million, maybe 3.2 million. But if I take half of the 3.5 million, that's probably 1 3/4 million that I think that we could designate as carry forward money. It was not anticipated what our rate would be when we did the budget that ends this June. Last year, we did a carry forward amount. I wonder if I'm wrong. I think it was 7 million. It was a larger number than what I'm talking about. So I think when we increase this rate, every penny, and that's why I think every penny is important, that we are gaining revenue that we did not anticipate between now and June, and that could be carry forward money. That helps reduce that 4 million that Fred's talking about. If it's just 1.5 million, that brings us down to 2.5, a little over 2.5 million. So based on my thinking, that's why I'm sharing my thoughts with you. I tend to think that 65 cents, which is a 10-cent increase to our citizens, and it doesn't give our constitutional officers hope that we're going to put all the burden on the citizens. This burden is going to have to be shared, in my opinion, across the board with our positions, our jobs in the county versus our citizens. So I say all of that to say, I guess right now that I'm at the 65 cent report.
You're 65.
Yes, sir. And that's how I come up with my thoughts and what that number.
Do what, Fred?
What, Fred?
I said I withdraw my motion.
Well, I don't have, okay, but I don't have enough. Steve would need to withdraw his second.
Yeah, I'll withdraw. He withdrew that last week.
But I'm just telling you some of my thought process, and I'm open to Karen or Andre or Doug, anybody that, if that's not rational, if some carry forward money out of this is not possible, tell me now. Don't wait till we get to June and tell me, no, you shouldn't have considered that.
Well, I think they've already said it about 100 times.
What the bond rate?
I guess what I'm looking at,
Karen or Andre or Doug to elaborate on JH's thought process there. Is it valid? Is it rational?
What I want to
One of you three or all three of you need to speak up now.
I'm going to do
That's why I put it out there for him.
and I guess I'll jump in first and then Andre can jump in. If we increase and we get more money into this budget, and we're talking about carrying forward, we're still $6 million, $8 million short, depending on the numbers that we're looking at. So while we may try to cut down this budget and cut that deficit, that's not money we're making. We're just going to be less in the hole to carry forward. So if we look at those, the way I'm looking at it, and Andre can jump in, is if we save $1 million or we get it, we're going to be less. If we're 8 million in the hole now, maybe we're only going to be 4. We're looking forward to the numbers next year. So we're hoping that we can eat into that deficit, and we're not going to use up all of that savings, I guess as Dolores called it, or rainy day money, that instead of the whole 6 million or 7 million that we're eating, that we're going to have some more there. And I guess that's what Mr. Rivers is talking about. You know, that could reduce that amount and make it a little better for next year. But if we're looking, we're still going to have the same expenses if we don't cut them, plus our new expenses. So that's what we're trying to project out there and look at 65. The numbers that we've given you show then you'll have to cut 6.3 million. Actually, 6,371,000. So almost $4 million for next year at 65. So as long as we accept the fact that maybe we'll get some more in, maybe the numbers on the public service court come up, give us a couple more $100,000 or a few more $100,000. Maybe that 6.3 will only be 5 million. But even so, that is significant cuts that we've got to recognize. And again, if we set it at 65, then we've still got to make those cuts. If we set it at 69, you're still looking at almost 4.5 million. If the numbers increase us now and help us this year, that's great. Then we may have a little more money not to reach into, but that may help us next year. But it's still going to be $4 or $5 million that we have to cut. The cuts have to be made no matter what you all decide to do with the taxes. So whatever it needs to be, we need to advertise it, because then we have to adopt it. We have to adopt it by February the 12th. So whatever we decide here today, today is it. We have to have a rate to advertise today. Does that include personal property increases? We have to decide that today so we can advertise it and have our public hearing. And then whatever you decide then, if you've already advertised your max and that's what we adopt, then we've got to figure out a budget for you to look at. We're going to have to call everybody in, no matter what. Everybody is, every department, every line item, every constitutional office, you're going to have to make those cuts. You've already heard from all of them. Nobody has cuts to be made voluntarily. You all are going to have to make that decision. So whatever rate it is, we need to do that today. The numbers we've given you are the best we can do with everything we've got coming in. It takes into account what Dolores thinks she can collect. It's got everything in there that Doug has provided on the personal property side. And thank you for helping out on the pennies. We hadn't broken it down that much, but I think that you agree. Doug says those are the numbers.
Other than one
very
number,
close.
I think they and I agree.
Very close to what a penny is on real estate, very close to what it is on personal property. But you guys have got to set the rate, and we'll have to find a budget, and then we'll have to come in and make the cuts. So, I mean, those are the numbers that you're looking at. So whatever we can get our heads around, we need to do that today.
When I did those per penny, I came up with $426,400 per penny for all the line items that we would increase. Now, drop that down, not the 26,000 off. We're still talking 400,000 is penny's gonna bring us in. 10 cents, it's $4 million. We can only, I feel like we can carry half of that forward. So I was using real conservative figures when I said 250,000, but I think we're probably closer to 400,000 per penny.
That's what these reflect. I mean, if you look at these high level with the collection allowance, you're about 26,000 each penny increase. And to expand on what Karen said, there's a couple of discussions we heard from Davenport last week about higher than budgeted numbers that were higher in revenue in a couple categories that we needed to account for this budget year. And according to Dolores' reports, and I think we all agree with her numbers. We're not doubting her numbers. There's no carry forward to have. So that bump in personal property tax at the end of the year, we're gonna be lucky if that takes us through June. So going into July, what is left over, and also you have to reconcile with the school. We're going to be basically in the same situation we are right now. And so I wouldn't think that we could count on any carry forward money at this point.
I think, Dolores said what she said, judges that I think judges that agree with what we got to do. The state 69, we're really taking a chance. I don't like taxes either. Just comes a point, could get yourself in even more trouble if we don't stay at 69. We're taking a chance. We're just guessing, hoping that this comes out. I don't like taking that type of chance. I think we've got to take care of our bills, and if anything going in, like the regional bill, Andre's talking about, that's things we gotta pay. We can't not pay it. If they go up, who else is going to go up? I just don't want to take a chance, because I know that and it's still gonna be under 69.
65 cents won't give you much cushion for the next budget.
We'll be still in the same trouble, maybe worse, we don't know. Could be worse trouble or the same trouble. We're not getting out of it.
I'm just afraid if we set 69, that doesn't tell people that we really want a lot of cuts.
There's more spending.
That's 4 more
Yeah.
cents that can be spent, that maybe could have been cut. And they're gonna be painful, no doubt.
It's just cut that $9,000 we had to cut our side. It's not much, but we're showing people that we're showing people that we're with them. Should give a raise for ourselves. See that?
Now,
I know it's not much.
all 8 of us pays 99,000 over 72 million. If you take into account what you guys made in 1982, the last time it was increased, you know what that is in 2026 dollars? 24,000 something. And we're taking 12. That's nothing for anybody to fuss about.
No, but still, it's an expression. People you're with them. Yeah,
But back to the personal property under the 3+ million that we anticipate a one-time bump. It's because we're collecting twice a year. It has nothing to do with the penny increase. Because it can still be figured in that penny increase. The fact is, we're getting 3 million additional this spring because we're doing it spring and fall. We're getting it up front. That's where the 3 million is coming from. Is that correct?
Yes, and that was anticipated in the budgeted numbers this time last year. Again, there's been discussion from Davenport where those numbers inflated. I think I've made the point, we net out to basically the same thing when you take things into consideration that we originally budgeted the debt service to the schools and did not adjust that back out. That was 2 million. We net out to the same number, but those numbers were anticipated. But I would just go back to actual cash. We think will be collected what Dolores's ending balances are come June versus what we're paying out. We're basically in the same situation. That does not improve. So there's again we're going to have razor thin margins regardless of what happens. And
Where are we now this year in reference to the revenue we brought in through January versus what we spent through January? How short or how many million short are we? Are we short? I assume we're short.
I don't have that in front of me. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Seemed like last month we were about $2 million short.
I can't say one right now because I have to get information that your board packets have revenue collected year to date, expenses paid year to date. So the actual numbers there is what we can base that on. But there's variables in that because some of those are grant funds. They're just in and out. But based on what we were depending on being funded by revenue collections versus what we paid. I mean, we know right now we started, as you referenced, with a $7.7 million deficit, which was a plug in prior period funds that we realized was really not there to take. It was there, but that sorely diminished our ability. Basically, it's coming out of our operating funds. We don't have. Again, we have a razor thin margin on meeting payroll and meeting AP expenditures right now. So.
So the 7 million is overspent in the past. And we're trying to make that up, put that back in the bank.
I gave, I think I shared with all of you, high level. If you look back since 2020, since 2019 tax increase, the state has presented 26% COLA increases, cost of living increases that we accepted. There's a cost to that. There's a cost not only in the current budget, but in every budget after that. Compounds. We've taken on close to $1 million in insurance, health insurance. Increases that the county absorbed, did not change rates for employees. And we're now, and then again, the vehicle expenditures, debt payments on vehicle expenditures over $4 million. So $6-7 million that's not coming back, high level, that's where it is.
I get-
I agree with you. I said I would, but it just keep, I would leave my own go down, but now as I start hearing all this stuff, it kind of worries me to do that. I didn't, as bad as we are, then, we're gonna not get down that, we're just gonna add to it for next year. And I know trying to help people, I hate to see people have to pay double, I don't want that, when you've been talking about. But sometimes we're just adding it down to the road that could make more trouble next year. Taxes even go up higher. I mean, if you keep it at 69, maybe it won't be less.
It won't go away.
No, it won't go away because inflation's going to hit us every year. And things are going to go up. It's like, let's talk about people. We got to pay stuff no matter what. Going on the state, we have to do it. It goes up. It's going to go up with this year. They'll do it to us again next year. But we don't want to sit back and go down and then have to go from 65 to back to 72 or 74 the next year because we didn't do anything. I said sometimes it's better to go ahead and add that a little bit now, a little bit later, and still having double the next year. I mean, just things. Think about it.
Can you tell us under what the audit is going to project that as of last June 30th, we had in total fund balance?
Yes.
What is?
I mean, from memory, no. I've got a report that was actually sent today with some of the adjustments that when Dolores made the presentation last year, specifically pertaining to due from the school board. That's been reclassified, so she has a updated draft that would give those numbers as of June 30th of what's in our unassigned in total fund balance. So we do have those. I don't know that off the top of my head what that is, but I can provide that to you.
Should we take a quick recess and let him grab it?
Yep. Well, I can grab it. I'll send you.
Yeah, let's let him grab that number. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna run it back.
I need to step out.
You still there, Karen?
Call this recess meeting back to order after a short break. Andre has provided us information, draft information from the audit that we will receive shortly next week probably. And Andre, if I'm reading that right, it says total fund balance is 28,151,000.
Yes.
So if Dolores has spent out of that 28 million, do we have an idea of how much she spent out of that 28 million?
The last meeting, she was talking about 7 million.
So this is what she presented in your all report last week is the exact to the dollar, same numbers that's on this draft report. They are identical matches. So what she presented last week is the exact same information.
So we have 28 million in the bank.
No. At the end of 25, well, I mean, with she's, of course, we were using 7 million of
28.
Up to 28 for this coming, this is, yeah, this is the year of information started. But some of these are, you know, in your total fund balances, you've got COLA money, we can't use that. So these things that are restricted, you have to take that off top right away. That's opioid money. So basically what you're looking at in your unassigned, that's what you have, and that's right now $6 million, and that's what she had on her report that she presented last week.
But the airport earning, even though it comes in on the revenue side and showing up in this fund balance, we have it in our budget where we're going to spend it is budget.
It is restricted on how you can spend
It's
it.
restricted on how we spend it, but it is projected in our current budget and we will project it in the new budget.
Yes, and basically the only thing we budget for there is the use of the partnership with C-Corps, where we're getting those workers. That's what, that amount of that money is budgeted in our budget to spend. It's probably not enough. Or in any requests, I think there's some requests that have been made by you all out of our direct opioid money, particular projects. But we could not spend that for any, we cannot spend that for operations.
If I recall Dolores correctly, she said we had a total of 18 million. And JHU said something about borrowings and they were taking some money from that fund. She said she would not recommend that, but that we had the right to do that if we wanted to.
She did.
Who's doing the talking to you?
Pardon me? I'm just repeating what Dolores said.
Dolores?
I think what we touched on was, yes, there's about, in our checking account balance, $18 million that we have to have that for operations, meet payroll and accounts payable.
How much?
I would say $18,000. Well, it's in this.
18 million.
Yeah, or excuse me.
Would be
I wish it was 18,000.
Right now, we've got total cash investments at 128 was 13.8. Even less. Well, I was closer to that 18,000.
So every month at payroll, it takes out about what, 7 million?
I'm not sure what I'd have to look and see what our payroll.
Okay.
It's not that.
No.
It's not even close to that. I don't.
950,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't, well, I was way off.
950.
I'm glad you were.
Yeah, so I bet it was.
Need some thoughts or motions or something on where we're going for a tax rate.
Fred,
Yes,
would you like to renew your motion?
I think I'm gonna recommend that in a show of cohesion and unity, that 2 other board members, make the motion and the second.
Okay. I will make the motion that we advertise at 69.
I second.
I'll third it.
I've got a motion and a second to set the tax rate for real estate at 69 cents per hundred,
Up to 69.
up to 69. Well, we're setting it at 69.
Yeah, then we go back.
We have the option to come down
We can
later,
come down.
but we are setting it, not up to, we're setting it at 69. I've got a motion from Mr. Schoolcraft, a second from Mr. Bates.
Bates, I tried to get y'all.
That's all right, I like being on the
I'll go with 69.
Are there any other motions? All in favor?
All in favor?
Let's do a roll call.
Mr. Bates,
Yes.
Mr. Carter,
And we got an option to lower it, right?
Yes.
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 Mr. Peters,
No.
Mr. Atkins, Tim,
No.
Mr. Schoolcraft,
Yes.
Mr. Rivers.
No.
Fred,
Yes.
That's five.
I believe it's 5-3,
Yes.
so it does pass.
Yes.
So we set the real estate at 69. Now, what about the other rates?
and that would be for advertisement of that rate, subject to public hearing. That does not set the rate until after the public hearing, and then you revisit. Okay, and then personal property, is there any discussion?
Since we using my philosophy that we be consistent across the board, if we're raising real estate 14 cents, we raise everything else by 14 cents. Could we just do all of those in one motion?
We could, and that would be at 179. We can't touch the data centers are set separately. Merchants Capital is 127. Mobile homes would stay at the 69. And the new calculation that the commissioner had spoke of would be 155 with the new calculation for Merchants Capital. Is that correct?
I think you got that switch. Machinery and tools.
Yes. Be 155 and Merchants Capital be with the 127. So that
Consider that done in that one motion.
it can be done
We're
in one
gonna have to do
motion.
another motion to add those on.
Add those on. I move that we do.
Mr. Atkins made the motion, I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Bates made the second. Basically, this is keeping everything consistent with the 14-cent increase. Any discussion? Roll call again.
Okay, Mr. Bates?
Yeah.
Mr. Atkins? Mr. Carter?
See, is that, okay, yeah.
Mr. Peters?
No.
Tim?
No.
John?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
And Mr. Rivers?
No. Again, the motion carries.
And this would just be for advertisement of these tax rates as proposed tax rates, subject to the public hearing and a vote by the Board of Supervisors after the public hearing.
Who made that last motion, Karen?
Mr. Atkins, Mr. Bates made the second.
Thank you.
I guess my next question is not on the agenda, but at our last recess meeting, we were distributed a recruitment notice for a county administrator. And I guess I assumed it would be on the agenda today. Is there any desire to amend the agenda to advertise for a county administrator? Do you want to wait till next Thursday? We'll have to amend the agenda if we add it.
I'll make a motion, we amend the agenda to do that.
I'll second that.
We got a motion from Mr. Peters, and a second from Mr. Schoolcraft to, add to the agenda advertisement for the county administrator's position. Any discussion? All in favor of amending the agenda indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Mr. Peters, you made the motion. You want to start the discussion on,
We don't advertise, we're not gonna find anybody, and if we don't find anybody, we're gonna just run this Mullins into the ground, there wouldn't have nothing left over here for a while. Even if we make Friday's paper and advertise, we're looking at 2 to 3 months at the most, trying to get somebody in here, and that puts us into April, early May. We need to advertise and start getting some resumes and just review those things.
Well, we've got a lot of competition. We're getting the county administrator, Appalachia. I forgot who else it was now, two more of them in the region.
Lee County's on.
That, Lee County,
City of Bristol?
did Lee County fill that position?
I think Lee County
Yeah.
filled their position, and, but that we've had several open in the.
Bristol.
Yes.
So I guess what we're gonna be voting on is to use the recruitment notice that was given to us last week.
Either that or come up with one. I don't think we need to put pay in there. I think we just have the salary based on experience and qualifications should cover us until we interview.
Yes. And that's how we had, did our recruitment notices in the past.
And we would say that it would stay open until filled.
Yes. And we have to decide where you want to advertise. I know you talked about the paper, but normally with a recruitment notice like this, we're going to be posting it on our webpage and then VACO, VML. There are certain areas that we send out. If we want to do it in our local paper or in one of the regional papers, we can check the cost of that to put that out and determine how many times you'd like to advertise that. But then it would go out to all the electronic areas immediately.
I don't think we need to look at a headhunter right now. I think let's see what we get based on these 3 or 4 places we advertise.
If we're ready, the floor is open for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, please, the board, I'll make a motion that we advertise for the county administrator position.
Far and wide if we need to.
Hopefully close in there.
I have a motion from Mr. Peters, a second from Mr. Schoolcraft, that we start immediately advertising for a county administrator. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Karen, if you would see that we start the advertising process.
If you need to fine tune that, you're more than welcome.
Now, from closed session, I believe there were a couple of items that we needed to consider. Do we need, Madam Attorney, do we need to amend the agenda again
To discuss
to discuss
Person-
items from?
personnel items discussed.
So now we need to amend the agenda to include personnel items that were discussed in closed session.
Mr. Chair, if it please the board, I'll make a motion that we amend our agenda again to include some personnel issues from closed session.
Second.
And I saw Mr. Carter raise his hand. So Mr. Peters made the motion, Mr. Carter made the second. Any discussion on amending the agenda for personnel reasons? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is amended. Now, I think there were a couple of motions that we were discussed. Is anybody ready to make those motions? And I'll say the first thing, we asked Andre to step out. There was discussion that, Andre, that you report to this board. But you don't report to the county administrator, that you report straight to the board. So that needs to be a motion.
I will make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Schoolcraft made the motion, Mr. Peters made the second. That under your position will now immediately report to the board of supervisors. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Now, the next issue was to notify all departments that all supplements be approved by the board of supervisors. And I made these clarifications earlier.
But I think that the discussion with that all supplements and local funding would be reviewed, would start a review process by administration and reporting to the board of supervisors. If I understood that.
That's my understanding, yes.
I'll
So
make that motion.
Mr. Schoolcraft making the motion, Mr. Bordelon made the second. Any discussion?
And just to clarify, that would be to notify all departments and constitutional officers that supplements and locally funded positions was going to be reviewed by the board, and we would coordinate with them.
You're
Is
gonna
that
be the one
correct?
that-
Yes.
You'll be the one.
Yes, sir. And we'll coordinate that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No opposed, motion carries unanimous. I don't have anything else that I know needs to be on the agenda. Does anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, we had set the public hearing initially at our regular meeting place at the school board office on the 12th at 6 o'clock. I know there has been discussion about changing that to a larger area. We do have communication from the school board that the auditorium at Central High School would be available. If we want to do that, we need to make the motion when we recess this meeting that we would set the public hearing for the advertised tax rates to be heard at and have our meeting at the Central High School auditorium.
Can we YouTube from there?
And on their audio system out there, coordinate with them or you see.
We don't pay for them.
You only when they expire?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we got that, we didn't cover that, did we?
I can't hear
When
what
these,
he
when
says.
these grants that expire, that
Resource,
Yeah. that we don't like
We
honor
don't
for
pay, we
that.
don't keep paying.
Yeah.
We need a motion on that.
Go ahead.
Do we need a motion on the grant funding positions?
I was thinking we could do that next week, but yeah, we can. I think we discussed
And
that.
Mr. Chairman, I understand there's some discussion going on that with continuation of grant funded positions by the board and determination not to do that. I think that is something that we can address based on your previous motion. Those would be locally funded positions or supplements. And we can look at that as part of the process going forward. And then if you specifically make that determination going forward, we can put that as part of our budget or any kind of approvals that this board looks at when grants come before us.
Steve, I think that's something we should do, but I think we can do it in our February meeting, maybe even March.
Well, if I hear you correctly, you wouldn't need a second motion.
It's already in.
Right, I think that would be
Okay.
included, and then if we want to specifically point out the different things, when you start making decisions on these, after we start coordinating and meeting with the department heads and constitutional officers, we can detail that as we move forward with our budget process.
Tell them that we're not gonna do it, is that what you're saying?
Yes, and if that is the decision that we're not going to do that, then we can be very clear about that, so there's no misunderstanding or miscommunication going forward.
That's what we need to do.
Right, yeah, we need to do it.
Do you need to find out if the school board is set up for YouTube before we commit to that?
And again, don't know if everybody can hear, there's a question. We don't know if the auditorium is set up for YouTube. So I don't know if that's a consideration. We don't want to move it to allow more people to attend, but then it may restrict some of the YouTube viewers that,
We just have to ask. So,
and I don't know that we know that right now.
When do we need to know?
I should
Other
know
than right
by,
now.
I should know by the end of the day, but just offhand,
When people start carrying two guns instead of one.
offhand, I think I can make it work one way or another.
The only option we have, if we don't change it from the location that it's currently been advertised at, well, we have to get the advertisement in the paper by Friday. Well, actually, we have to give them the notice tomorrow morning by noon to be in Friday's paper to meet our requirements. So if we need to take just a minute, I don't know if there's somebody you can check with or you won't know.
I reached out, but
Okay,
Do we have to make a motion to this? Do we-
yes. It has to be part of the advertisement of the public hearing and where the public hearing will be held.
To give Westwood the time to get an answer. Another item on here is board comments, so we can delay a little bit while Wes is getting an answer. And I'll just ask for board comments. No comments.
Well, I was thinking in that we could make that motion, determine it if we can meet at Central or the YouTube at Central. If not, that we maintain our current location. Would that be appropriate?
We could do that.
Could we just
Because
meet at the
whatever
regular place
happens,
to start with?
excuse me,
Could we just not meet at the regular place to start with?
We can,
we can do that. And then if YouTube is not available, it's not
I've
available.
seen programs on TV, somewhere I looked at, where they have things at Central. You can sit there and watch it. I don't know, but I'll set it. I have seen. You have to put microphones on stage for us to get.
You get one of them wireless
Wes, I'm
rock
just
star mics.
curious, do you have any idea how many people are watching us on YouTube?
We get anywhere from 350 to 900 views every time we stream. But
How many of those are watching live, do you?
live today, we only have 13, but we had as many as 40 some the last time we were live.
Last time we were live, we had 40-some live.
That kind of people just go in and turn to see what turns it off to.
That would be, yes.
Yeah.
So the total number of views though would be from the time that the video
Starts
goes
to-
live. Yeah.
Should we leave it where we're always at and see how many we can get in there?
Why don't we go with, let me see if I think I can make it work. And if we can't, we just can't. I think
So
I'm
maybe we
pretty
need to
confident.
go with Rusty's motion.
We can do that. And was your motion to move it to Central if we have confirmation that we can do YouTube? And if we cannot, stay in the same place? We would know that today. It would run in the paper and we put it on our website for any viewers we have now. And if we've not gotten that by close of business today, then we would
And if we can't, we'll
Leave it
just
in
get
the
as
same
many in
place.
as we can.
I think that.
So it is to go to Central High School if we can YouTube, and if we cannot YouTube, it will be at our regular board meeting place because we can YouTube from there. And we will know by close of business today, and it will be advertised in the paper and on our website of the location.
And then part of that motion, Rusty, is to adjourn this meeting. We're adjourned, we're not recessing, we're adjourning.
I'll make a motion, if it pleases the board, Mr. Chairman, that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
We got to vote on
But
the,
wait, we got-
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, add that, a friendly gesture to add that to your motion.
Okay, let's do that.
Would you rather I call and find Teresa?
All right, all in favor of the motion on the table,
What's
indicate
your
by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Fred, you okay with that? Thank you, sir.
all right, so we're adjourned. The last part of that motion was to adjourn. All right, thank you, Fred.